Hello, everyone. I haven't really had a chance to sit down and talk about anything. One of the craziest experiences of my life is about to happen literally a week and a half in 12 days, I believe. But this is just going to be a chill little video. I know the first question is going to be, Max, why are you doing so many shows? Max, what's your issue? Max, why are you spending all this money? Max, why every other day do you post that you're going to this tour? The tour being the Eternal Sunshine Tour. Hello. For those of you who don't know me or don't know me too well, hey, my name's Max. Ariana Grande is my number one artist ever. She is an icon, a diva, legendary. She's literally the vocalist of a generation. Ariana Grande is such a special human being. I started loving Ariana Grande. I'm going to be very basic and say Victorious because I watched Victorious. However, I'm not one of those stans that's going to be like, oh my gosh, I was a diehard stan following her since Victorious, because that's not true. I knew her from Victorious. However, I didn't start getting into her music until My Everything. That was kind of like my first time being an Ariana Grande fan. And obviously I heard her on the radio all the time, with like Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Rihanna, all the people who were big back when I was little. Fast forward to 2018, she announces tour. So I asked my mom, I said, could we go? It would be my first concert ever. I didn't even know how to go about asking about a concert. And my mom's like, yeah, that would be fun, whatever. Like, we'll like come back to this later. Also, I do have a pimple patch on if anyone's wondering what that blue thing on my nose is. I forgot where it was. Yeah, I just kept bugging her about it. She ended up surprising me after my swim practice. I used to be a competitive swimmer, for those who don't know, little background, saying, hey, I got these tickets for Ariana. I also got the refund policy on it, and I'm going to use that if you don't get all good grades. That was a challenge for me. I ended up barely making it by, but we made it by. Sweetener Tour, May 7th, 2019 was my first concert ever. I cried so many times. Ariana and that tour specifically helped me fall in love with music and live events. Now, my major's in music business. I've worked for a concert venue before. I've been to over 250 concerts. There's just been a lot that would not have happened in my life if it wasn't for that show and Ariana. She literally was the only one I played, the only person who I had posters in my room for. I had like 80 pieces of her merch. I was a diehard fan. Starting Sweetener era into Thank You Next, and then the whole Thank You Next era just changed the game for me. I became a insane stan. You could say it. I'm gonna say it. I was crazy. I was down bad crazy. I was fighting people over why Ariana Grande was the greatest artist alive, which I still kind of believe now, but I'm not gonna fight people over it. You know what I mean? But I was one of those stans, like stan Twitter. I had a Twitter account. I still do, but it's not specifically for Ariana. It's for like just music and everything in general. And then I had an Instagram account called Sweetener Lounge. Shout out if you remember it. That was iconic and a great time, a great era in my life. And then come COVID, I was like, I think that was the peak of my insanity for her. Just because I was at home and bored the whole time. You know what I mean? It was everything Ariana. I was ordering everything Ariana. I had everything you could ever imagine. I watched all Ariana Grande vlogs, like tour vlogs, meet and greet vlogs, anything Ariana's ever put out. I literally like learned everything about her during that 2020 COVID lockdown season, because this is when I was still living in California. Within that, I was able to bond with a lot of people. I made a lot of friends through Ariana. I was bullied a lot because of Ariana, and that's a whole like separate story, the way I was treated because I was a fan. But I'm so proud of myself and so happy that I decided that I wasn't going to let that bullying change the way I expressed myself and how happy I was, which was, wearing my merch, and I had something I was genuinely interested in. I felt like that was the first time since forever that I was truly interested in something. But, the normal is not a man. And this was before I came out as gay. So I was battling being a straight man, loving Ariana, and people were judging me for that, and then bullying me because I only wore her merch, and I was just so obsessed with a girl who didn't know I existed. I've heard it all when it came to that. So I understand stan culture. We've all kind of connected through the way the world has viewed us, has treated us throughout our years of growing up within the stan culture world. As I mentioned to a lot of my friends, the people who were my friends because we bonded over Ariana. That also helped me like expand from, okay, I don't need real life friends, I can find a community online, which is a very hard concept to express to your parents at the age of 13. You know what I mean? Because so much can happen online that can't happen in person necessarily. And there's so much danger online. But I feel like at least when it was 2019, 2020, online was popping. The culture was popping for any pop icon. All the fan bases were active, and I easily found my people through that. And once again, I wouldn't have found those people. And those people I'm still friends with to this day. One of the tour dates I'm doing for the Eternal Sunshine tour in Austin, I'm meeting my friend Bailey. We've been friends for 7 years. We've never met in real life, but we were friends for 7 years just because she commented on one of my TikTok videos when I was posting only Ariana. Like, that's insane. And now we're finally meeting. We're staying together. We're going to the same Ariana Grande concert just like almost a decade later. I just truly believe that when it comes to fandoms and stan culture, and I hate when people bash on the concept of meeting people online, because for some people that's all they have, and for me that was all I had. I had that, and I had my grandma. I will only briefly talk about this because it just is a thing that I struggled with ever since she passed. I think I'm in a very good place now, but it definitely will be emotional going on to this tour without her. Me and her bonded over Ariana a lot. She loved Ariana. I mean, for probably 3 or 4 years straight, I'd go over to her house either every day or every other day, and I'd just update her on Ariana. We'd watch music videos. We watched the Excuse Me, I Love You Netflix documentary. We'd rewatch Victorious. We'd watch her live performances. We'd listen to her albums. We'd react to her red carpets. And my grandma passed from cancer. I was in a dark time with the bullying and the harassment and the no friends because I was different in that sense. And she was struggling a lot. She was one of the strongest women ever, I swear to God. But she definitely needed her breaks, as we all do. And I feel like that was kind of a time for that, as well as bonding. It was also a time for a little break here and there. So it would literally just be me and her listening to Ariana, or going somewhere to get an Ariana product if it was like a vinyl from Target or something like that. Like just things like you do with your grandma. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of memories I hold with Ariana and my grandma. I do think that's going to be an emotional aspect of this tour, because I recall even times where we would be like, oh my gosh, when she does a meet and greet, or when I get a meet and greet with her, when I finally get the chance to hug her, like, you're going to be right with me. I don't care if I even have to wheel you in on like a wheelchair. I always thought she'd at least be able to experience one concert with me. Unfortunately not, but she's with me in spirit, and I know she's going to be here for all these shows I go to. Everyone knows how crazy I've been about the 10 shows I'm doing and just the tour in general. Ever since Sweetener Tour ended, I have made it a mission, a goal. I've told everyone I know that I'm doing multiple shows and I'm traveling the world to see Ariana next tour, and I finally get to do that, and that is something I'm so proud to say. But yeah, so that's a little background about my grandma. I didn't want to get too deep there because I probably would start crying. But yeah, this tour, I'm definitely going to be honoring her at every show I go to. She definitely had a big part of my life, as well as Ariana did when I was young, when I was a teen, when I was going through high school, through those phases of my life. Those two had probably the biggest impacts on me. And it's kind of just a full circle moment. I'm finally turning 21 the day before Ariana's New York show, July 12th, which I'm still trying to get, but I know I'll end up with a ticket. It's my literal 21st birthday, my first day as a 21-year-old. I have to spend it at an Ariana Grande concert, because the first time I saw her was 2019. I was 13. And then I also saw her when she announced the second leg of the Sweetener tour. She came back to the United States. I think it was like November and December. That was crazy because we got to hear all of the Christmas songs and see like some of the outfit costume changes. That was so good. Oh, I miss it. But I'm so excited for the Eternal Sunshine tour. I'm so excited to see what she's going to bring with it. We have T-minus 8 days until it starts. Just for a brief background, like, Ariana has had a major impact on my life. She is the reason I love music. She's the reason I was able to move forward with all of the nonsense the world brings you at the age of 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all these years. She truly, her music and her personality and her drive and her positivity, everything about that has made me continue on and has helped influence me to keep going in the right path. And that might sound parasocial, but I don't even care. I'm just trying to really shortly but deeply express to you guys how much she means to me and how this has literally been a dream and a goal of mine is literally coming true. I have cried about this so much, so I don't think I'm gonna cry right now. Just know I'll be driving in the car. Her song will come on, like Twilight Zone, for example. I'd even just think about meeting her and I'd get tears in my eyes. And yeah, call it what you want, but she means so much to me. It goes deep. It goes deep and it's a forever type of thing. I have a sweetener tattoo. This actually tattoo right here is to commemorate my grandma. So her two favorites, like that we bonded over, were Ariana Grande and Katy Perry. Katy Perry released a song called Daisies, and my grandma loved that song. I love that song. I think my whole family loved that song. So I got a daisy, and in the stem it says sweetener, but sweetener is written in my grandma's handwriting because the way Ariana explains sweetener, someone or something that sweetens a situation, something that makes the bitter taste go away. And that was definitely my grandma in those rough times for me. So being able to combine the two in a tattoo that lasts forever meant a lot. So one day, hopefully I can show Ariana, and I'm just very grateful, very, 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 very grateful that I get to do all these shows and that I get to be with some of my favorite people ever. And I get to just experience this to the fullest. And yeah, the Eternal Sunshine Tour is going to be the time of my life. I deeply believe this is going to be one of the most important experiences I will ever have. And yeah, that's enough about that. I think I've explained a lot. If you have any more questions about that, like I know all of you kind of know me, so DM me, text me. I know some of my closest friends, like y'all know how deep it goes with Ariana and I. Like that's my number one forever. I was going to also answer a few questions about tour. So I need to grab those first and then we'll circle back to this. My most asked question is how many shows am I doing and how much I spent. At this moment, I currently have tickets to 9 shows. I'm trying to do 12 shows. I have spent probably $8,000 alone on tickets. I'm going to be fully transparent. I have saved a lot since last tour and I have also worked a lot. So I definitely couldn't have done this if I didn't do either of those two. And also thank you to my parents. Shout out to my parents because they have helped me. That was tickets alone, and then flights and accommodation and yada yada yada. So definitely a lot of money. Money is temporary. Ariana Grande's forever. So I tried to do the cheapest flights possible. However, I do have 2 credit cards with Delta. I saw Madison Beer 10 or 11 times on the Spin and Tour, and that I actually went to London for. My point was I did so many shows of the Spin and Tour that I racked up a credit with Delta Airlines and I've gotten so many miles. I'm able to use that to help me get flights now. So I always recommend an airline credit card, especially if you're traveling a lot like I am. So I'm sure you guys want to know what shows I'm going to do. Here it is. So I am doing June 9th in Oakland, June 19th in LA, June 20th in LA, June 26th in Austin, Texas, June 30th in Florida, Sunrise, Florida, July 3rd in Sunrise, Florida, July 8th and 9th in Atlanta, July 12th in New York, and then July 28th and 30th in Montreal. But yeah, those are the shows I'm doing. It took a long time to like narrow down which ones I was doing and which cities I'm doing. But the fact that I'm doing 6 out of 10 of the cities on tour, 6 out of 10, I'm doing more than half the cities on tour is crazy. But once again, I can't believe I'm actually saying that. Like this is just a dream come true. I'll be vlogging this whole experience. Surprise. I want to really test myself and push myself to vlog this whole experience. One, so the people who can't go can somewhat get the experience I want to try. And two, because I want to be able to look back on this. Once again, I've said many times, this is going to be one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life and probably ever will do. So I want to definitely be able to look back at this. Another thing to know is tickets. So I know I mentioned how much I paid in total, but I didn't mention where I'm sitting. So I have mostly lower bowl tickets. I have, I believe, 2 nosebleed tickets. One in Atlanta. I believe it's Atlanta night 3. So the July 9th show. And that's a nosebleed at the very top. That one down. I was just gonna have fun, be drunk, whatever vibe. And then I have a nosebleed for the last show in LA, the June 20th show. That one I spent a pretty penny on. I spent like $900 on that ticket, but that was just because I was desperate. I didn't think tickets were gonna drop. I'm over it. We don't have to talk about it. And yeah, the rest are lower bowl. I do have 2 floor tickets. I was scouring the internet for any floor tickets, and I'm so grateful I was able to find these 2. One in Montreal on the 28th. I'm sitting with my friend's friends. They ended up having an extra ticket because someone in their group couldn't go, and my friend reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want this?" And I said, "Absolutely," and I got it for face value. And then my other friend, Mel's, she's one of my best friends here in Florida. I met her through Madison Twitter. Okay, my hair's pissing me off because it's sticking out on the side. Mel's was so kind enough to let me purchase her second VIP floor ticket for Florida, July 3rd. It is 4th row tickets, like seat 10, I believe. Oh my god, just saying that is like insane, and it's VIP. So I actually also get to be VIP on this tour, which is another thing that I was like accepting was not going to happen. I truly thought VIP for this tour was out the door for me. I did not think that was going to be a possibility, and now it is. Very, very, very grateful for those people for helping me get that ticket. Also, I got a ticket from a few friends for an Atlanta show, and AG Tour Resell on Twitter helped me get one ticket as well. So it's definitely a lot of work, but it's possible. It's possible to find face value tickets, I promise. You just got to be the most annoying person ever, and I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to be at the Eternal Sunshine Tour. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I feel like I've talked enough about this. Tour starts so soon. I'm so very excited. Let's get ready for the best summer, probably of my life.